Hi, Justin. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I'm happy you were able to join with us in this interview. Thank you for giving us time. My name is Mariangela Martinez. I'm content marketing specialist here at Alpaca. And today we are pleased to be joined by Justin Whitehead, CEO and co-founder of Pebble Finance, a financial platform that leverages AI and innovation to transform trading and investment. They offer AI-driven strategies and the ability to create custom thematic ETFs, empowering users with advanced tools and customization options for optimal trading experiences. Justin, if you would like to give an intro about yourself.
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Justin Whitehead. I've been in the fintech industry for quite a long time. I think before the word fintech was ever really coined, but it's been 20 some odd years. Excited to be here.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that any topic talked about in this interview is not financial, investment, and/or tax advice. So we encourage our listeners to seek individual advice. Alpaca and Pebble Finance are not affiliated and neither are responsible for the liabilities of the other. So let's dive into the questions. So
All
the
right.
first one, could you provide an overview of Pebble Finance's core products and services?
Sure. So you kind of pointed up pretty well. We are trying to change the way that people interact with markets. People naturally speak and think in very human ways, but this is not how capital markets work. So what we did is we developed an AI that listens to people like you and me and can have a conversation with us about what we're interested in investing in. And Pebble's AI will go and do that research, assemble those baskets together, which we call pebbles, and help you invest in your ideas very swiftly and very naturally. And we are delivering this in partnership here with Alpaca, direct to consumers through the app stores.
Awesome, thank you. So what made you want to partner with Alpaca?
So in order to build pebbles from a mechanical standpoint, you need three capabilities that exist out there now. You need to be able to trade on a fractional basis into securities. This helps us give access to new trading capabilities to a wider swath of investor, because you can actually reduce the number of dollars that have to be put into any specific investment. Commission-free trading was also a pretty key innovation and change that has happened to capital markets over the past couple of years. So that keeps costs down for retail investors, which is great. And then from the company standpoint, we needed to find a partner that we could interact with very easily. On the engineering side of the world, we call these APIs. Just so happens that Alpaca is very much an API first brokerage. So built into your DNA was the ability to communicate with companies like Pebble, and that's how we found you, and that's how we latched on.
Okay, thank you. We're happy that you're actually a partner of us. It's been great. So what do you feel sets Pebble Finance apart in the industry?
So if you step back and you look at how the industry is largely predicated right now, it's an industry of manufacturing products and trying to sell them to as many people as possible, right? So these products come in the form of new funds, mutual funds, or ETFs. Maybe it's a specific trading strategy or something like that. But everyone's trying to build some product and mass market the heck out of it. What the industry is not doing is not listening to people. So what we did at Pebble was, and how we differentiate ourselves between what we're doing and what's out there in the market, is we built tech that just sits there and listens to you, the investor. I'm interested in hearing what your ideas are, what your passions are about, what are your values. If you have an idea that you think is going to make you money and you're just having trouble articulating it, great. share that with us. We'll make it easy, and we'll turn those ideas into investing reality. So a lot of our differentiation, again, just comes from listening and making the interaction between markets and how people naturally think and speak just a more seamless and easy one.
So you mentioned that the industry wasn't listening to the people. So who is your target audience? Who is this app for?
So most of our audience, people say millennial, people say Gen Z and all that type of stuff. We're digital natives. We are people that grew up with technology in our hands, or as the digital experiences were kind of hitting the main marketplace. We have very, very different consumer behaviors and patterns than our older generations, our parents' generation. If you think about it, think of the radio, right? Do you listen to the radio, anymore, like in the car on a drive or anything like that? Huh?
Not really.
No, right? A lot of people don't anymore. Why? Like, why would you sit there? I got to tune to a station. I got to listen to, whatever the DJ happens to be wanting to play at that moment. Like, that just sounds insane here in 2023. Again, that's what Wall Street does. It has this opinion as to what you should be investing in, and that's what it's going to sell and try to coax people into listening to. What we're trying to do here is effectively like the Spotify model for finance. Allow people to customize the world of they created the ability to customize the world of music to whatever you want to listen to, right? So if you want to listen to crappy EDM music, or you're into show tunes or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Spotify gave you access to all of that at the same time. That's what Pebble is doing. We are basically giving people, and specifically digital native audience, that kind of consumer experience where you can actually express your ideas and control what you want to be investing in, just like you could go ahead and control the type of music that you're listening to today.
So what triggered you the need to create this type of platform? Like, was it your personal need? Was it other people's needs? How did you decide you wanted to create this?
So it started off with my own need. I was, I'm an investor. I've been an investor, on a personal level for most of my professional life. And it was the backstory of Pebble actually starts a few years ago when Baines had the infamous fiasco going on. I was spending a lot of time in the airports that particular summer, and kind of ironically, what was on the news all the time was just getting thrown under the bus, each and every week. And it was a different reason each and every weekend. It was just looking more and more like this company was a fiasco. I invest in ETFs. I've got, mutual funds all over my 401k and all that type of stuff. And it was one of these companies it was so obvious to me that, like, this company is just a dud. I want nothing to do with it, but I probably own it all over the place. So I started asking, other people, like my Uber drivers, people at the airport. I'm like, hey, how much do you own of that and all that type of stuff, and all that. And people are like, oh yeah, that's horrible. And the common theme was just like, yeah, I wish I could get rid of it. So that was the spark of the idea. We expanded when we started Pebble Finance. We expanded the spark of that idea quite a bit. We had done some research with retail investors, where we had them connect their brokerage accounts, their 401ks, their individual personal brokerage accounts to Pebble. We weren't called Pebble back then, but basically they connected their brokerage accounts to us, and we'd explain something that was going on in their portfolio to them. So we would take their ETFs, we'd take their mutual funds, we would expand them, we'd blow them up and show them what was on the inside. And then all of a sudden, you get some interesting user discovery conversations. People had strong opinions, and everyone's opinions were different. So that was super interesting. But the common thing that we saw was everybody wanted to get rid of something for some individual bespoke reason. So the first incantations actually at Pebble were copy an ETF and go ahead and kick the companies out that you wanted. We actually did that on Alpaca, those prototypes on Alpaca's platform as well.
Okay, how did it go? Was it really good?
It was amazing. No, it was it was perfect. So like the documentation on Alpaca's website was fantastic. It was easy to get up and running with experiments. Most retail users had no idea who Alpaca was, so that was a little bit of a, we had to go convince people to go over to your website and open up an Alpaca account and all that type of stuff, and you get people being like, who the hell are these guys, type of thing. But we got people to do it and jump through all these hoops just so that they could go ahead and edit an ETF type of deal. So there was enough. It was, it was perfect from a, like, there's a there, great. And then it was those experiments that we ended up running that enabled us to go get a little bit of seed funding here in the beginning and actually build a more robust product offering to do what we set out to do.
Great. Okay, so what are the primary goals and long-term vision of Pebble Finance?
So the Pebble, there's a couple things. So there's what do we have around the Pebble itself? We see the Pebble as effectively like a new asset type. So if you go to any brokerage account, outside of even Alpaca, if you go to any brokerage account, you have the ability to buy stocks, you have the ability to buy ETFs, you have the ability to buy a lot of, but not all of, mutual funds as well. We want to bring the Pebble as a new asset type that is ubiquitously available anywhere. It's like an ETF, except you can control what's inside of it, and you can have as many or few as you want of these Pebbles. So that's one part, and that is part of the mission of, again, trying to make investing easier for people. Again, we're catering to a digital native generation. This is, we are a generation of investor who is very independent. We're self-taught. We're learning, on social media. We're reading blogs. We're learning how to trade, how to invest. We're making very strong opinions about what's important to us and what's not important to us, and all that. We need to make capital markets work like that, and that's what we're broadly trying to do. And I just want to get that capability everywhere in everyone's hands. And to show people what's possible, we're bringing a direct-to-consumer offering that does all of that.
Okay, so I think we've already talked about this, but can you share any milestone that Pebble Finance has already achieved?
We have done a lot on the regulatory side. So after we raised our seed round, we started building out the team here, and we became a registered RIA and an SEC federally covered RIA. This has been, it is a long process, but it has been amazing to learn along the way. So that was a big milestone for us, and we hit that milestone back in the fall. Obviously, the development alongside with Alpaca has been a pretty big milestone. It took us about 6 months end to end to go from nothing to a full direct to consumer offering. Looks great, works great, and all that. And then it took about a month or two after that to go through Alpaca's process for limited live, and then eventually being enabled to go live. So those were all big accomplishments from the team here. And then outside of the Alpaca relationship, we've actually got some of those things that I mentioned in terms of, like, we want to help bring the concept of Pebbles to investors wherever their money happens to be. I can't really go into depth and detail here, but we've got some interesting positive movements in that direction as well, which I'm just super ecstatic about.
That's great, and actually congratulations, because it usually, like, Alpaca can help you launch in a short time, but it also depends, on the partner. So, and it's hard to make a rapid launch. So it was also like thanks to you that, we were able to get this process and launch you into live. So that was really great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So can you share with us your experience in the onboarding process with Alpaca?
With Alpaca. So I have, for context, again, I've been in this industry for 20 some odd years. So I've worked with lots of different vendors of lots of different, call it ages of maturity, so to speak, and all that type of stuff. The onboarding process with Alpaca in terms of technically onboarding and working with the team there and the account management and getting all that set up. Very, very modern and SaaS-like. I've mentioned this to you offline. I've mentioned this to others there offline. The documentation that Alpaca has is beautiful. This was on its own, it was enough for us to get 99% of the way there. And I say 90, I would say 100%, but I know we contacted broker support maybe half a dozen times throughout with weird bespoke, only going to be hit by us type of weird edge case questions type of deal. But man, it was very good from a self-sufficiency standpoint. Being that you guys are young startup, we're a young startup, we also speak a lot of the same language in terms of how do you get contracts signed? How do you know? All right, let's do due diligence. All right, well, let's go put a shared folder together and just rapidly iterate on documentation there, which sounds like, hey, that should just be, why doesn't everyone do that? Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of people have very old, arcane processes for these types of things. So it was, I'd say along the way, the TLDR of all of it is pretty fast and efficient. The whole onboarding process was fairly fast and efficient for us along the way. Pretty happy about it.
Thanks. So, I was going to ask how have we helped your business, but I think you've already touched base in that. But can you tell us which features you use?
So let's see here. So in the we focus just on stocks, so no crypto. We don't do anything with crypto. And we'll probably end up doing some fractional ETF investing to run some other experiments and add some other capabilities down the road. So the fact that everything, obviously the APIs, everything was fractional, everything is commission free. We leverage your direct integrations with Plaid. So we've got a multitude of ways for our clients to basically connect their bank accounts directly to your broker. As the RA in between, I never have to take custody of the money. I don't want to take custody of the money. I don't care about having custody of the money. So the fact that you're able to make that direct connection is fantastic. We leverage the KYC capabilities that Alpaca offers. So as a fintech startup, if you're in the space, it's a regulated space. You have to do KYC or know your customer type of compliance checks. You can do it yourself. You can outsource it to a third party. Alpaca does that, and you have an integrated way of doing that, which was optional, but we opted into that. So very thankful that was there as a feature. And then I'd say additionally, access to market data has been good, specifically time series for the assets themselves. We don't use your news. There's a couple things that we don't use, but we do end up using your price history and all that type of stuff for stocks and various assets type of deal.
Okay, thanks for that answer. So this question we ask to everyone we invite on the interviews. It's kind of a fun one. So what do you know now that you wish you knew when you first started out?
Securities laws dated back to the 1930s. So I as part of the RIA, spinning up the RIA here, myself and my co-founder, we each studied for and got our Series 65 and passed our Series 65 exams. So that was like, I've been in this industry for a while, but never like formally got tested in this way. But it was fantastic history lesson, and kind of gives you a lot of interesting perspective in terms of like how the whole RIA industry, or gives you an understanding as to why the RIA industry works as it does today. Never had a need to know that specifically before, here, but do now. So I don't know, that's one of the things I wish I knew going in, because it did take a lot of time to go study up and get that passed.
Yeah, it's maybe like a regulated industry, a very regulated industry. So there's a lot. And you were already in fintech before fintech was even a word.
And it's wild, because like, this is, there is a lot of room for innovation in this space, a ton of room. There's a ton of regulation, and you've got to know it. I think we all better as an industry just need to help break down those barriers cost effectively. There's just too much room for lawyers, everyone taking their own interpretation on rules and things like that. Like, if we really want to go ahead and increase the pace of innovation, we really got to make this, it's not remove regulation, but like help people understand regulations and take them seriously, and do that in a quicker, more time efficient way. We'll get there. We're not there yet. We'll get there.
You'll get there, I'm sure. Yeah, thank you so much for giving us the time. I'm definitely following Pebble's, launching phase, and you're doing great. You're gonna keep doing great. So thank you for giving us the time, and we're so happy that you're happy with Alpaca.
Well, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, you too.